Just be yourself. It's the worst advice ever, right? Unless you know what it really means. And I think I've got a good running theory. For my entire career as an artist, I've been fascinated with and tortured by something called authenticity. And all that push and pull with authenticity in my art has helped me get closer to understanding what it really means to be myself in life. The more myself I feel, the smoother the universe seems to flow. So today I'm going to share with you what I've learned about being yourself and some ways to help you exercise that be yourself muscle. And here's the big takeaway. Being yourself is a practice and not a destination. My name's Bao Vo, and this is Mind Over Matcha, where I and my guests share our everyday epiphanies, which are tiny droplets of wisdom with the potential to change the way you see the world. Take what you need and leave the rest for not yourself. When you see someone really being themselves, it's unmistakable, right? Their energy is more felt than seen. They're attractive even if they're not that good looking or well dressed. They glow even if they aren't trying to be seen. And they just seem to flow through the world with ease. And most of the time the key factor seems to be that they feel present for you. You're the center of their attention because maybe they aren't seeking any attention for themselves. That's the power of being yourself. It's hard. It's not easy. And sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. But being yourself is an energy that you continue to work on, just like a really talented singer still has to practice and exercise their singing abilities, right? Alternatively, not being yourself sucks. As an artist, you might feel that your work doesn't represent who you are, or you're not passionate when you're trying to make the work. But as a human, it's even worse. Playing a role is exhausting, and navigating the world without a clear internal compass is really scary. Sometimes the root of that is the fear of being judged, or sometimes the root of it is that you might not know who you really are. So let's make some tea and I'll share some ideas and practices that help make the state of being yourself a little more familiar and a little more easy to get into. So what I'm sharing with you isn't going to solve all your problems, but it might help you cope in kind of a challenging world. There's not going to be life hacks or psychology jargon in this one. It'll just be chill, sustainable practices that help you maybe see the world in a different way. Oh, and if you stick around till the end, I'll share a few ways that you can help others be more themselves, so you can multiply the goodness. So what does it mean to be yourself? It's a weird time right now. On social media, and there's like life coaches, and everybody's telling you you need some kind of personal brand, as if it's being yourself is something you can design and wear. But being yourself isn't about being the highly curated personality that you want to show off to the world. It's about knowing, accepting, celebrating who you already are, and continuing to build on the facets of you that you want to be better at. There's a brilliant and hilarious psychologist named Brian Little who studies personality and authenticity, and he kind of describes it like this. I have to read it because I don't remember exactly what it says. He says, being yourself means acting in ways that are congruent with your core values, even if it requires stepping outside of your natural personality. In other words, you don't have to feel like yourself in every moment. Authenticity isn't a lack of fear, it's the dedication to act in alignment with your truth, even if it freaks you out. So you have to honor yourself, your principles, your passions, and your personal path of growth. This is an important one, and I'll talk more about it later. So here's my theory. Being yourself requires 5 main things. The first is self-awareness. You have to do the work. to know what your core values are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And you have to be honest about your abilities, your limitations, your boundaries, and also the reach, your impact, whether it be local, like your family and your neighborhood, or whether your impact is an entire country or an entire industry. There are a lot of very powerful people in our society who don't seem to understand the impact of their actions. So self-awareness is really important. The second thing is self-acceptance. Embracing your strengths and weaknesses and accepting who you are, with all your eccentricities and neuroses. Accepting your past experiences because they've helped you get to where you are, your current state, which is somebody who's interested in learning about how to be more themselves, right? Why else are you watching this video? And the third thing is flow. The ability to flow into what you're doing without being distracted by the judgments of others or distracted by the judgments of yourself. Just being here now, not lost in the past or fearing the future. The fourth thing I feel is really important is a growth path. Nobody's perfect. Nobody will ever be perfect. And having a growth path means you know where you want to improve. Essentially, this gives you a sense of purpose, which is a huge part of your feeling of self. Okay, and the last thing is courage. The courage to stick to your core values and your growth path. Also the courage to be wrong, the courage to accept change and change yourself, and the courage to forgive yourself and others too. So those are the 5 things that I think you need to be aware of and actively work on in order to be yourself. But how do I get there, Bao? Well, unfortunately, there is no there. Being yourself isn't a final destination. It's a continuous practice that you have to work on. So let's get into it, right? Oh, before I get into these practices, I want to recommend to you how to approach these practices or any practice. First, I recommend that you constantly move toward a better version of you with compassion and with patience. It's not a straight line. It's not going to be overnight. There's no final destination, like I say, just incremental progress. By the time you think that you'll be the perfect you, your idea of perfect is probably going to change. So treat it like a fun game and not like you're fixing yourself. Leveling up is just gravy on top of an already delicious you. These are 6 kinds of practices that will help you be more yourself. The first one is self-reflection. Knowing yourself means finding the patterns in your yucks and yums, what you prefer, what you don't prefer. To do this, you need to set aside time to reflect, to ask yourself honest questions, maybe in a journal. If you don't journal yet, my most popular video to date shows you how to start journaling and how to make it a sustainable practice. You can write, or you can just ponder, stare at the ceiling or whatever, but ask yourself, what do I care about today? What's important to me? Who are the people who make me feel the most myself? What do I need to let go of? Not because it's wrong, but maybe because it's not accurate anymore. Most importantly, ask yourself why. Why are these people important? Why do I like this stuff? Find the patterns. So that's number 1, self-reflection. How can you be yourself if you don't know what yourself is, right? The second type of practice is mindfulness. Mindfulness is not about getting your mind to be completely silent. It is about making space to hear your inner thoughts. Just 5 minutes of slow, intentional breathing can slow down your body chemistry, cut out the stress, and help you focus on being present with yourself and your thoughts. One healthy way of practicing mindfulness is called walking meditation. When you take a walk, choose a part of that walk that's like 10-20 minutes long and slow way down during that part. Then you want to synchronize your breathing to that slow pace of walking. Oh, hi birdie. And focus your attention on the physical sensations of your body. Like, how does each footstep feel as it touches the ground? And how does that motion feel to your arms and your legs? And then you want to gradually expand that awareness outward to your immediate surroundings. What do you see? What do you hear? So now you've got this little bubble of awareness. And the goal is to stay grounded in the very present moment. How your body feels, what's around you, and just observe without judgment, without forming opinions. Just be. There's tons more mindfulness practices that you can look up on the internet. I'm sure YouTube has a bunch of videos about it too. The third kind of practice is to cultivate supportive relationships. Being yourself is not a solo activity. It is with others. I have a tiny group of besties that I try to call on the phone once a week or once every 2 weeks. Some of those friends I text with almost daily. And some of them I take long walks with once a week or every other week. And when you connect with these people, get deep. Share the lessons that you've learned recently. Ask for their insights and opinions, and ask what their current life projects are, how they're improving their lives. Oh, and it's okay to let go of some relationships. It's okay to outgrow relationships that no longer feel as aligned as they used to. You should notice the people who say you've changed in a critical way versus in a supportive way. And if you really want to live life on the wild side, tell them how stoked you are to change. Okay, number 4 is to have boundaries. I used to think that being a good, kind person meant that I have to be available for everyone. It totally doesn't. You can still be kind and have space for yourself. Learning to set healthy boundaries is critical to protecting your sense of self. It helps maintain the balance between being kind to others and being kind to yourself. Within these boundaries, there are emotional boundaries, like you don't have to carry other people's load. Other people's problems aren't yours to fix. Most of the time, just being present is more helpful than offering your own solutions. And then there are physical boundaries, like everyone needs their personal space and it's okay to ask for that. There's also boundaries around your physical health, like if you don't want to, it's totally okay not to have alcohol when you go meet friends at a bar. Soda water and lime is really good. Then there are temporal boundaries, like boundaries around time. Your energy is expensive, so put it in places that are most fulfilling for you. Taper off the activities and the people that don't make you feel good. And then there are digital boundaries, like you don't owe anyone constant access to you. When you're done with work, it's okay to turn off work and not be hypervigilant about your emails all the time. On social media, you don't have to interact with or even read all the comments that come through your posts, especially the bad ones. So that's number 4, have healthy boundaries. Number 5 is to do activities that put you into a flow state. There's no better training for being yourself than flow activities. So you want to do things that put your mind and your body into this immersive state. Being in a flow state allows you to express yourself without self-doubt, without external pressures or judgment, just letting your abilities and your skills and preferences come through. The point of this is to learn how it feels to be in this flow state, and learn how to enter it so that you can then apply that to life, to the outside world. You really can flow without judging yourself. And here are some activities that really help me get into a flow state. One is obviously creative stuff, right? Making art, making music. But you can paint, you can cook, you can do anything that kind of engages your mind and body and helps you be creative. Second thing is sports and physical activity. Yoga is an amazing flow activity. Rock climbing, dancing, swimming. These things help you really become absorbed because they require your entire body, your focus. And then there's writing, like journaling, creative writing, poetry. Writing can really help you get lost in your thoughts. Then you can do things like gardening. My mom loves to garden. You guys should meet her, she's amazing. And then there's stuff like puzzles and games. Those things require your full concentration, or making matcha. And these kinds of flow activities are meant for you to learn how to get into flow and what it feels like to be in flow. And the sixth category of practices is to socialize better. I have some tips about socializing. I mean, I wasn't going to include this, but it seems like some people need a reminder. And the reminder is that not everyone is going to be able to relate to you or even like you. And that's okay. You don't need to impress anyone because there are plenty of people who will relate to you. I think that if you know who you are and if you show up in your flow, even the people who can't relate to you will probably know someone they can introduce you to who can relate. And you can make friends like that, just being yourself. We all have different ways of presenting ourselves, right? There's like the friend self, the family self, the work self. And sometimes there's the code switching between cultural environments too. This is totally natural, and it doesn't mean that you're not being yourself just because you're code switching. And the last thing I want to say about socializing better is it's so good to reveal a fuller version of yourself to people. We tend to compare ourselves to other people based on just a few of their qualities, but we don't know what the rest of their life is like, right? So I think that the more facets of yourself you can reveal to other people, the more entryways they have to relate to you. It's really okay to put yourself out there. Like, what do you have to lose? There's plenty of weirdos out there. I'm not calling you a weirdo, but maybe I am. So I hope those 6 areas of practices are helpful to you and you can find some of those to do. I also want to tell you about how you can help others be themselves, be more themselves. I know that some people find it easier to be themselves than others. So here are 5 practices I put together to help other people be themselves. The first one is to create a friendly, comfortable environment. This means to not be judgmental and don't be closed off to things that you're not familiar or uncomfortable with, like just listen. Oh, and that brings me to the second thing, active listening. When you engage with people and you want to create a safe space, just listen to what they're saying without interrupting or trying to share stories immediately, right? Just listen and hear what they're saying. Show that you value what they're saying, their thoughts and ideas, and ask follow-up questions. Ask them to explain stuff that you're unclear about or you're more curious about. And the third thing is encouragement. My crow family. If you sense that somebody's passionate about something, support them in exploring those things. Give them permission to talk about them and get into it. Even if it's not your thing, you can still be supportive. The fourth thing is to respect boundaries. Meet people where they are. Allow people to express themselves at their own pace. Like, not everyone is willing to share that much right away, so respect people the way they currently are. And the last thing is positive reinforcement. If you see something positive, call it out. I truly believe this will make the world a better place. If you see someone doing something nice, tell them, hey, I thought what you did was really nice. It's not just for kids. Grown-ups need this too. Guys, we're nearing the end. So when I was talking about writing and journaling, I wanted to end with sharing an exercise that's really helped me figure out what my core values are. I do this exercise every 1 or 2 years and it really helps me. So the exercise is to write about your perfect day. It doesn't have to be a realistic 24-hour day. It can be as long as you want. So write in whatever format you like. How do you wake up on your perfect day, and where do you wake up? What's the first thing you do on this perfect day? What activities do you do in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night? Who are the people who are there with you in each of those places and those activities? And most importantly, as you write this stuff, how does each of these things make you feel? What feelings do you want to feel most in your day? When you do this, you can find the patterns about what matters to you most. And remember this, don't judge yourself if you can't be all of this stuff right now, because this is your growth path. This gives you purpose. Celebrate your small wins and your big breakthroughs, and give thanks to your shortcomings for showing you where you want to level up. So let me close with a Baoism that's going to be in my book that I'm working on. We're all learning to surf in different parts of the water. This is about individuality, self-comparison, and compassion. It means that whatever you think you need to be in comparison to somebody else, that's all an illusion. You don't know what's happening under the surface in everybody's lives. Everyone has their own challenges and their own privileges and their own values as to what's good and what's bad. So have compassion for yourself and multiply what's good. If you want to pre-order my book, it's called Baoisms, Everyday Epiphanies of a Mindful Artist, and you can pre-order it on my website, baovomusic.com. And if this everyday epiphany resonated with you, please hit the like button and share it with a couple of people to help me grow my channel. I'm also going to put 3 or 4 links in the description to 3 or 4 videos and podcasts that inspired this presentation to you guys. They're really great. I hope you get a chance to check them out. Thank you so much for joining me for Mind Over Matcha. I'll see you next time.